Okay, in my early years, I was lucky to be able to discern a particular technique by an incredible bass player named Tim Bogert with the Vanilla Fudge called Raking. I found out later on it was called Raking. I didn't know what it was called. But it's basically a way of pulling your fingers across the strings of the bass, kind of like a rake in your yard rakes leaves, or you rake up dirt in the garden. And it's a way to get a zillion notes smoothly flowing in time without a lot of actual effort. You're just actually kind of pulling it across. Well, there is effort to it, of course, and there's finesse and all that goes into being able to do it. But as you'll see, once you start to get a piece of this technique under your control, it's a great help. And the basic one that I default to right away. So I'm not really moving much with my right hand. I'm just kind of letting this fall. It hits two strings. Each finger plays two strings. So I just had to put down for two strings, up, down for two strings, up, down for two strings. That's the basic one I learned first. From that, everything else came. And also Stanley Clarke on some of his The Return to Forever stuff. I think that's what he did. I'm pretty sure. It sounds like it to me. He did some raking techniques that were pretty cool. And Stanley is a stand-up player, so it may have originated from that. I don't know the history of it yet. I'll do some research on that. But that's it, basically. Now, of course, it includes some left-handy work there as well, as you see. It can get real interesting eventually for... So you can move it around. Now that's just one pattern done as major and minor. There are, of course, a million variations of it with what you're doing on your left hand and right, of course. So some of the variations I use, I did this at... So you see already there's different note variations you can do. Come up with your own, come up with the... once you get the basic... Just pound on that. Keep in time. The minor one. Then start to work in different patterns with your left hand. Until you eventually come up with a million different variations. Again, the basic technique is you're pulling your finger 1, 2, 3, The variation I have on it with 3 strings to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes is... Now that's using 4 fingers here. It's a little bit tricky, but again, it's you can get a lot of notes with very little effort, and they're smooth and they're in time and consistent, and you can find a lot of spots in songs and music that you'll find it actually useful. And that one goes like this. Difference is this one starts with 1 note on 1 string, then 2, 2, and last is 1. Giving you 6 notes. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a little tougher because you got to do it. The left hand is a little bit more, is a little more difficult to play. You got to do a quick recovery to get back to that again. But basically, a lot of notes go by quickly, and it's easy to keep in time. So those are 2 raking basics. The 4-finger, oops, there it is, and the 3-finger across. Now this variations on 2. that one, that pattern there. Million, just make the patterns up. Basically, you could do a whole piece built on just raking, and maybe I'll do one someday. But best thing to do is sit down and just hit it. So you get it as solid as humanly possible. Then do the variations of all the different notes. Again, the variations I use most are that one, that one, that one, that one. So torque is you got to bring this up. Or so that's it in a nutshell. That's basically raking.